Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negative mindsets so you can realize your dreams and life purpose and create and accelerate the riches you want in life. Join us here live every Tuesday at noon Eastern and dialogue with us at 818-572-2910. You can also chat with us at Blog Talk Radio /SheddingTheBitch or share your stories on our website at sheddingthebitch.com. Whatever the bitch is that's holding you back from living your life to the fullest, it's not worth giving up the riches in life that you deserve. So call in now and let Bernadette Boas know what's holding you back. 818-572-2910.
Good day, everyone. How are you on this beautiful fall day? This is Bernadette Boas, and you are listening, maybe watching on Shedding the Bitch Facebook page, Shedding the Bitch Radio. And today is our Ask Me Anything episode. And basically what we do here is throughout the month, you have an opportunity to post your stories, questions, challenges that you might be having in any aspect of life, in your work, in your relationships, maybe with your fitness or your health, or any aspect of your life, and I bring you tips and advice and sometimes tough love. And if I can't answer your questions, if I'm not an expert in it, trust me, I won't go there. And I will ensure that I have a guest come on and or reach out to you directly to support you and to address your question. So throughout the month, feel free, go on to our Shedding the Bitch Facebook page or Twitter page and leave a comment. You can DM me, which some of you do. You'll DM me because maybe you don't want to ask that question, in a public forum. Majority of you actually reach out via LinkedIn through a private message on LinkedIn, and that's perfectly fine too. At the same time, we have our Shift to Riches private group, which you could be joining, and that is your safe, collaborative community where, we are all working together to be able to have that safe, confidential, private space to, share things and discuss things that might be a bit sensitive and or you just want to kind of keep to a smaller group. However you need and want to get the help and the support that will move you forward and accelerate you creating riches in your life, which is what we're all about here in both the Shedding the Bitch community and Shift to Riches community, then I don't care how you reach out to me. Just reach out. Just ask for that support. You can even email me directly, BernadetteBoas@ballofireinc.com. All right? So being that it is our Ask Me Anything episode, what I really have been talking about and people have been approaching me about over the last it's really accelerated, I'll tell you. It's really accelerated, I would say, in the last 4 weeks. Before that, it was on occasion, but we're 8 to 9 months into the big C word. And if any of you follow me here on Shedding the Bitch Radio or in our Shift to Riches community or Ball of Fire coaching, wherever I show up, you will know that I don't like to focus and I don't like to put myself in a place of stress and strain and negativity and victimhood, of which the C word or the P word, however the scientists and the doctors and the media want to call it, having discussions constantly in regards to that and throwing that up as reasons for many of you struggling, I just choose that we all as a community and as your coach and some of that tough love that I provide out is basically in the vein of, look, yes, there are going to be two types of reactions to something like what we've been going through for the 8 or 9 months. We're either going to see it as a major mountain to have to climb and get over, and then we don't even know what's on the other side, so we're all in our head and we're all stressed out and we're all anxious, and or maybe you're the kind who just totally retreats and goes quiet and kind of sits on your couch and eats bonbons, and however you're reacting to it, it's fine. But my stress point would be it's fine for a time. It's fine for a time. So we're going to be talking about that. So that's one way of responding to something that comes up into your world. The second way is the fact that, yes, this is this is something that we've never seen before, never experienced before, never felt before, never had impacted every single being on this planet before. And it's having direct influence on even how you're going about your day in and day out. However, the second response that people have to it is they see it as, okay, it's a new day, it's a new norm. How do I adjust? How do I pivot? How do I shift? And they do make the changes that are necessary. And they look at it and they see and they find the opportunities, possibilities, and potential that are actually out in a climate, economically, personally, financially. They see the opportunities that are out there. And we've discussed that on previous episodes. And in our Shift to Rich community, we have our Thursday Ignite Thursdays live training, which kind of addresses a top-of-mind topic, both from a professional and a personal perspective. And we address that in our live trainings on Thursdays. So if you aren't a member of our Shift to Riches Facebook private group, then feel free to go to facebook.com/groups/Shift to Riches and ask to join in. And that's where we host those live training sessions and a lot more. We have Motivational Mondays. We have Rich Conversation Tuesdays, so forth and so on. All right? So check that out. So I thought that a lot of what I have been getting approached on over the last month has been coming at the angle of work, whether it's someone owning a business or someone in a career, and yet they're still strained to kind of adjust, to do that pivot, to make those shifts. And they don't see kind of an end in sight. They don't have kind of a, okay, come January 1st, 2021, we'll all be back to normal. We'll all be able to do the things that we used to do. And yes, it's a new normal, but at the same time, they're recognizing that that's not in the ground right now. And therefore, what they're willing to do is to ensure that they're doing what is necessary right now to still be able to, pay the bills and build their business and to acquire new customers, new opportunities, maybe in the workplace that's, still going after new projects, new promotions, new raises and bonuses, new employment, whatever the case might be. So you need to pick which one you are. And I don't even want you thinking about 5 minutes ago when maybe you were in one state of which, if it's the latter state of opportunity, potential, and possibilities, then you can just continue accelerating and amping that up, and we'll talk to that as well. But if you're in the former and you are struggling, and if you are strained and anxious, and you're still just unsure, and quite honestly, I just have to be direct here, guys. It's a crutch right now. 8 months in, it's now a crutch. It's something that you've gotten very familiar with, and in some cases that's translated into getting comfortable with the fact that it's like, uncertain and stressful and anxious, and maybe you're just stuck there. And so I really, really, really want to be talking to those of you who are dealing with just not fun. That is absolutely not fun. I'm looking for our Facebook page so I can make sure that I'm checking out any of your comments or your questions that you might have. And feel free, if you are able to get online and go to our Shedding the Bitch Facebook page, I am broadcasting live there as well as through Blog Talk Radio. And, of course, you can always go into our you can always always download us. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. You can always download us on iTunes, at Blog Talk Radio, TuneIn, Spotify, and anywhere you download your podcast, where you stream your podcast. You can find us there. All right, I should have been able to find this a lot easier. I apologize, especially for those listening. I'm looking for those listening, I'm looking for our stream just to make sure I can keep an eye out if anybody online is there and has any questions or situations that they're dealing with. Okay, so let's get back to this. So before we get into all of this, I also want to give you an opportunity. Yesterday, we had an absolutely fabulous Goals to Riches Mastery Summit. 8 hours of experts from around the globe that were talking to goal achievement, leadership, mindset, productivity, overcoming adversity, and building a killer network. So we had individuals like Melanie S. Griffin, who spoke to us about spreading your sunshine. Woo, that was awesome. We talked to Masha Malka. We talked to Catherine Kerrigan. We talked to Danny Creed. Specifically there, we were talking about building that killer referral network. We talked to Ash Kumra, all around productivity, time management, and those kind of things. And there's a thread here I'm going to bring up. And then we talked to John Santangelo, all about NLP. So again, all about the mindset and the influence that your dominant thoughts rule your actions, what you focus on expands. If you know neuro-linguistics practices, then you might be familiar with that already. He was awesome. Tons of energy. He kind of kept me going 5-6 hours in as well. Then we talked to Terry Wilderman about intuitive leadership. And then we wrapped up the day, we ended the day at the beginning. And what I mean by that is Joyce is the founder and the CEO of the Vision Board Institute. And she's one of the founding creators of vision boarding. And so she shared with us how even before you start working on your goals, you want to be actually creating your vision and translating that. If you translate it into words or images and pictures, whether you translate it into you can see my board behind me. If you translate it into something that, you could touch and feel, or maybe you do it online, or maybe you do it into an outline, whatever the case might be. So we ended the day at the beginning. So it was absolutely fabulous. Now, should you choose to want to get access over the next several days to those interviews, then you can still go to goalstorichesmastery.com. And it's going to act as if you're registering for the summit, of which, already went on. But not only did we have 8 hours yesterday, but, that audience is getting bonus sessions from bonus experts all this week. So 9 o'clock this morning, they started going out. And they're getting bonus sessions all the way through the week from Nicole Roberts-Jones, Linda Rozak Burton, Brigitte Hoffler, Batista Grimo, Travis Taylor, and then yours truly on Friday talking about productivity. So feel free to our Shedding the Bitch radio community. Feel free that if you didn't get an opportunity to join in yesterday, you can still get access to them. We are, just as a side note, we are obviously downloading and editing 8 hours worth of those interviews to be able to, put them out there, but they will get out there. And so if you want to go to goalstorichesmastery.com still and register, act as if you are registering for yesterday, then you'll at least get into that list to where we will send you and make sure that you receive all of those interview replays. They'll only be available for a short period of time. So, take advantage of them. If you should choose. All right? Okay, I'm going to sneeze, just as a FYI warning. So I have been feeling it coming up, and, I didn't know when to all of a sudden, go blasting in your ear. But, okay, so let's get back to what we are going to be talking about today. And again, it is our Ask Me Anything. So should you even have, let me make sure I'm in that studio properly. So should you even have questions, maybe you're out on Blog Talk and you are down, you're listening live through Blog Talk Radio. They have a comment section right there, a chat room section, and I am online watching that. I'm online on the Shedding the Bitch Facebook page. You can even call in should you choose to, because I am here live. So you could call into 1-818-572-2910 if you want to talk to me directly. Or you can just save them and DM me or send them through LinkedIn or to my email, BernadetteBoas@ballofireinc.com. Okay? All right. So these are the questions. I'll sum up, and then we'll dive into them. So the questions that I've gotten is, my spouse is not a believer in the whole urgency and risk of COVID, and I am, and it's creating a lot of conflict, a lot of havoc for this individual. So we'll be addressing that. Work is a little overboard and causing a lot of paranoia and kind of extra stress than what might be necessary. So how can we, how do I deal with that and deal with those that are kind of putting the hammer down the second they might see us, without our masks on and whatnot. And then the other one actually, I'm sorry, I skipped over the main one, the COVID. So, I'm overly stressed 8 months in, and how do I get beyond it? Because I can't afford to continue it kind of in this muckety muck. So we'll address that. And then lastly, we'll get to a number of people. If you join our Shift to Riches private community on Facebook, there's a couple of questions there. And one of those questions touches on, what is it about goal achievement that you need more information on, that you struggle with, so forth and so on. And a lot of the responses that I get to that question is, I don't know where to start. So we'll just talk about where, like I had mentioned, that Joyce Swartz talked about yesterday. And then, we'll just talk briefly on that, because what I really want you to do is watch Joyce Swartz's video. So be sure to go to golf2richesmastery.com, register, and I will make sure you get those interviews. Okay, so let's get into this. So yes, you're still strained 8 to 9 months in. And I'll be honest with you about, I was untouched, unfazed, other than wearing a mask. I felt very little disruption, and a number of people that are in my network, felt little disruption as a result of 8 months ago. And you might say to yourself, that's impossible. How is that? Well, one, it was really simple in that a lot of our lives, a lot of our environment, I'll say, our work environment and our home environment, and I'll even call our social environment, isn't drastically different. It's even different than what it needs to be right now. So what I mean by that is we were working from home. We were already in careers or jobs or businesses that we rarely kind of, interacted with people, at least during the workday. And then because we work from home, we had all the boundaries and all the expectations set between, the people that were in our house, or our kids, or the dogs, or our clients, or whatever the case might be. At the same time, or when I say socially, at least at my age, I don't lie, I'm 58. I don't hide that. I'm happy to be here, and I'm not actually excited to be 58. But I'm not like running around, at night partying and going out all the time. And yes, I do, love, and I do miss going into a restaurant and really being relaxed and comfortable and enjoying the environment. So long story short, a lot of us didn't have a huge adjustment. And I will just say that it only started hitting me about a month ago. I'll call it isolation. It was more that I had a number of trips planned, as many of you probably had as well, that had to get canceled and or postponed. And my favorite, as many of you know, because I talk about it quite a bit, and I actually broadcast from my beach trip with my sisters each May, that got canceled and got postponed, and it got postponed to the end of October. So it was starting to hit me about a month ago, especially as I see some of them, because they're all up north, about an hour from the beach, see them, kind of still congregating together safely and going down to the beach. And so there's, Facebooking their images and Instagramming all their photos of the ocean. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need a change. I need a new environment. So it has started to even affect me over the past month. And that's what many of you are saying. But many of you are carrying the first 7 or 8 months in with that. So you're overly stressed and burdened. This is what I would have to say to you is feel it. Experience it, right now, as, you and I are talking and sharing and dialoguing. Feel it and be okay with it. But make a decision that you need to move on from it and when you're going to move on from it. Just make that decision. Put a stake in the ground and say, okay, excuse me, it's Tuesday, right? So, okay, so I'm going to live in this. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to, bitch at it. I'm going to, smack it upside its head, whatever the case might be. But at some point, you need to let it go. At some point, you need to get rid of it. Now, I'll mention a few of the tips that the experts yesterday provided as well, because I'm always getting educated. So Melanie Griffin, who kicked off our summit yesterday morning, she said that if you are in a state of stress like that, or anxiety, or negativity, or whatever the case might be, then find an object. Let me find an object. Okay, so I have my screenwriting. My mother gave me this. That's another story. But, find an object, but it wouldn't be this because I love this. This doesn't need to go away. But find an object that can represent that strain you're feeling, that negativity, that anxiety, that doubt, that uncertainty, and just kind of, make it that situation for yourself. And then just kind of focus on it and, smack it away or tell it to go away, and be animate about it. Like, go away. Like, you're not going to affect me. I am going to move on from you, and I am going to prosper, and I am going to thrive, and I'm going to amp up and accelerate, and I'm going to do it despite you. So find something that you can, really, have it represent what you're going through. But choose a time and a day and a time where you're just going to let it go and just put it behind you. And then find, because until you do that, you're so in that code of negativity I always talk about, you're so weighed down by it that you're not able to get creative, to get innovative, to get out of the box, so you can come up with ways that you're going to deal with it. Because very simply, and this goes to this whole subject, and all the questions, whether it's the situation about overall strain 8 months in, whether it's the situation with the spouse, or with the situation with work being, kind of over the top. All of it just has to do with you recognizing that you are in complete control of what it is you can control. And all that other stuff, and Ash Kumar talked about all the stuff on the outside of you can't control. You can only control what you are dealing with. And in his words, inside. So recognizing, with self-awareness, it was the theme yesterday, recognizing that, if you're just aware of what it is that you're feeling and how you're processing it, and that it's not working for you, then you can make a choice, say, okay, then I need to move on, and I'm going to do it now. It might still linger at the same time, even if you have to kind of put on a face. You're able to, you just want to relieve all the filled space in your head and your heart, and you need to vacate it. You need to get rid of it, so then you can bring in all the ideas and the strategies and the tips and the support and the solutions that you can find for dealing with it. That is how, and the only how, you're going to be able to kind of take on this new normal that many people have, and while many people are still struggling. So make that decision of which side you want to be on. You're struggling, excusing, victiming, you're still using it as a crutch. It's comfortable. You're now accustomed to it 9 months in. Or you choose to, say, hey, you know what? Yes, I need to pivot. I need to change. I need to adjust. I certainly need to adapt to the fact that I need to have a mask on when I go out. I need to take precautions when I'm around certain people. I need to, my sisters and I planning this beach trip were stressed over the fact that we got a waiver to say, hey, look, the landlord of where we're renting is not responsible for us coming and renting, because he's doing everything that he can in order to, sanitize and disinfect and clean it in the COVID standards. And then therefore the responsibility of anything else is on us. And I basically said to them, I said, look, ladies, I said, we do our part. We'll do extra cleaning, even though he's going to sanitize and spray and do all kinds of stuff. We'll take those extra steps. It's not a big deal. We'll just adjust. We'll wear masks. We'll do what we need to do to feel comfortable and to maximize and optimize us coming together, as opposed to being strained and stressed over it. Okay? So just find, first ensure that your bubble of you, even your family, which the spouse, so we'll kind of segue into that. Even if you are doing everything, and yet you have a family member, maybe it is a spouse, maybe it is your kids, maybe it is your friends and your peers, and you're getting pressure from them. Maybe it's somebody at work, and they're not necessarily taking it as seriously as you would want them to, because you're taking it seriously. Well, again, all you can do is control what's on the inside in your world. You can't control them. Now, what you can do, and what I recommended to this individual regarding their spouse, what you can do is have a conversation, an open conversation. I just kicked my desk. An open conversation in regards to where you're coming from, and what your view and beliefs are in regards to this situation, and then hear and ask them for theirs. Be okay that they're going to be different, because you already know that. Because right now you're just kind of combating each other, the fact that you have different views on it, as opposed to, okay, we have different views. Let's come together. Let's discuss them. I want to respect your views. I need you to respect mine. And therefore, these are the steps that I am going to take, and that I expect that if you come into my world, then you are going to respect them and follow them as well. And then work on gaining agreement with each other and understanding with each other. So yesterday, one of our I'm sorry, I take that back. One of our bonus expert sessions is with Brigitte Huffler, and her whole subject is to listen, to relate, not to respond. And so bottom line there is, because I talk quite a bit about it as well, bottom line there is that she stresses to you is oftentimes we, especially if you are heated, if you are stressed and anxious and whatnot, and you do have someone that's kind of what you're viewing as disrespecting you, too often we're just ready for a fight. Too often it's like we don't listen to relate. We don't listen to engage. We don't listen to compromise and to discuss, solutions. We're listening to just get our point across. And then even if it might appear as if we're listening, we're kind of thinking what we're going to say afterwards to combat their comments, so then we get our point across. That's if you've ever, and many of us do, get into that type of conversation, it's no one wins. Nothing changes. Nothing comes out of it. Absolutely nothing, right? So instead, if you have, yourself and someone else with different views at work or at home, and we'll talk specifically about the C word, then you just need to sit them down, whoever it is, and have a conversation. Ask open-ended questions. What is your view on this? What are your beliefs? Why is it that you feel that way? What is it that that you're not, what information are you not getting in order to really have a full understanding of X, Y, and Z. And they should be asking you those same questions so you can kind of support your viewpoint. But keep in mind that inside outside, you're still not, you still may not influence them in any way, shape, or form. So now you have a decision. You live with these people, you work with these people, you hang out with these people. You're either deciding that you're no longer going to do that, or you're going to have to decide, how do we make, life good and happy and healthy for everybody? Well, that's going to be then setting expectations. Well, then I respect that. I hear you that, those are your views, and you don't believe, you don't want to be wearing masks. You don't believe we need to, put the kids in school or take the kids out of school and leave them home. I hear that. But this is my view and my beliefs, and I need you to respect that. Can you respect that? And you get kind of, buy-in, confirmation, agreement. And then you say, well, then these are the steps I'm going to be taking. And, and I just, need that everyone that, kind of comes in my world, my universe, my bubble, respect that and represents that. Is that something that we can compromise on and respect and appreciate? And when you go off to work or you go off to school or whatever the case might be, you can do whatever you want. But this is what I need and what I want. So there is ways for you to, have that discussion, have that conversation, listen so you can relate, like Brigitte says, and ensure that you're getting what you need in order to support how you're dealing, especially with this type of situation that's going on right now. Okay? And that's, that's going to be in all aspects, in all environments that you're in when you're dealing with stress, anxiety, different viewpoints, what you might be perceiving as conflict. And as Brigitte says, don't go in looking, necessarily for a fight, which you probably don't, but don't go in thinking that you're necessarily listening to relate. Recognize if you're not. And then recognize the fact that, you have to get out of your head, pay attention, really actively listen, work to appreciate what they're saying, look to understand, because listening is to understand what they are saying, and understand you could have different viewpoints from somebody else. I mean, we are in a year of definitely those contrasts, those opportunities for contrast, just between the politics and the health. You can either choose to get into the ugliness of it and, kind of let it really eat at you, or you can find ways and strategies to work with it so it doesn't impact you so negatively as it might be. All right? So that's COVID stress. That's how to deal with when you have when you have a spouse or a partner that doesn't necessarily agree with the way you're going about handling this. And like my sisters, I believe many of you know I have 11 brothers and sisters. 5 of them are my sisters, and those are the ones that, we'll all be gathering down at the beach at the end of October. I'm even driving because I didn't even need to talk to them about it. Understanding that some of them are stressed, some of them have high risk children or spouses or whomever, recognizing that it's just not, smart for me to just flippantly jump on a plane. I'm the only one who would need to jump on a plane and go up and then risk, being on that plane and all those people and carrying it with me. I'll be driving. And then we talked about the fact that, and I saw pictures from their beach trips, they're all wearing masks. Now, when and how they do that, we'll talk about that. But just understand that you need to do what you need to do to be comfortable, to feel safe, to be safe. And therefore, don't kind of get angry or flippant about, how other people are handling it. Just ensure that they know how you want to be handling it, because all you can do is control you. You can't control anybody else. Okay? Now at work, and one of our members of the community, was asking about in their workplace, and it happens to be in manufacturing. So that's a whole different, environment than maybe a business office. There's a whole amped up level of precautions that they have to be taking in order to deal with COVID. I said the C word. Didn't want to do that. Anyway, so, but his concern is that some of them are going over the top. That even if they're seen kind of walking down the hall or maybe going out on their lunch break and they drop their mask for just a second, maybe to I don't know, talk on the phone or maybe to take, a bite of their sandwich, he didn't necessarily explain that the people around them will just come down on them or other people as well in the workplace. And therefore, how do we not create such a high paranoia, a high stress environment, and just understand that, we have rules in place. We have guidelines we have to be following. We're complying. And if we're not complying, that's one thing. But, as we're complying, then everybody needs to just take a breath. Everybody just needs to take a breath. And, again, the only thing I could say to that is he can have a conversation with those individuals and express exactly what he said to me, because it was very logical. We have guidelines in place. We have, we're following those guidelines, and, we're executing the procedures, and we're taking the steps necessary. And so if there are, one or two instances where humans, because that's what we are, humans who screw up every once in a while, if, there are, one or two, maybe 5 situations where a human makes a mistake or, falls short or ignores something, then we don't need to come down on anybody. We just need to, kind of be like, hey, Joe, we really need to be keeping our masks on. We really need to be wearing those gloves. We really need to be cleaning down, whatever, our stations every time between, operations, whatever the case might be. We just need to be human and just understand that everybody is stressed. And therefore these procedures that you have in place are there to protect everyone. And yes, people are going to screw up. Yes, there's going to be someone, and we'll move into that, but there's going to be someone that's going to be like, yeah, no, I don't support it. I don't believe it. I think it's a hoax, so forth and so on. Well, you know what? The workplace is like the easiest place to deal with the conflicts. Like, it's not as easy for the woman with her spouse, her husband, who doesn't agree with, with the urgency and the risk. That's the hard, because that's family. You live and breathe with them. You're with them 24 hours a day. Work, it's easy. You treat them like humans, and you kind of course correct them when, things go short. Somebody who's absolutely against and, and just, what's the word I'm looking for? Insubordinate to following company guidelines, company procedures, company compliance rules. Well, that's easy. Just tell them to leave. Tell them to go. Tell them they lost their job. If they can't follow policy, it's company policy. So you don't need to be getting up all worked up about it, whether you're a leader of the company or an employee, whether you're, stressed out over your fellow workers not following protocol, or you're stressed over your, management coming down overly hard to where everyone's stressed and paranoid about it. Because, again, what he was also stressing to me, which I should mention, is the level of which they were reprimanding and constantly in one's face about it was causing a paranoia of this is more urgent and more serious than people are, leading on. We're the company is even over the top, so there must be something we don't know. All of that drama is just so unnecessary. So for those of you, leaders out there, lead and create an environment that is comfortable and safe and supportive, because there's enough strain that your people are bringing in to the workplace already as a result of the C and the P that is going on. I mean, they did beforehand, but now it's elevated that much more. So take a breath and let your people do their jobs and just be easy on each other, okay? All right. So if any of you should have any, and I'm just going to take a look just to make sure across the board. I don't have Deborah with me today, so I am handling this, all the social networks all by myself. We had a very busy day yesterday with the summit. So, okay. So the next thing I want to talk about in our last few minutes is what I had mentioned, that a number of you, especially if you are a member of our Shift to Riches community, if you're not, you're going to see this type of question. So people were joining. There was 2 or 3 of them over the, whenever, and they would join the Shift to Riches private community on Facebook. They would see the 1 or 2 questions I have there, and one of them is, because I tout myself as being everything. Hold on a second. Buddy, what are you doing? Sorry, I have a dog about to take down my whole desk here. And so one of the questions is about goal achievement. What are you challenged with? What are you struggling with? What do you need to know about, defining and acting on achieving your goals? And a number of them, and I'm only talking recently, but a number of them were where to start. So I thought I would just spend a minute or 2 on that, because we do talk quite a bit about goal setting. But I thought it was very interesting, and I want to keep tying back to our experts yesterday, because I want you to take advantage, if you weren't part of the Goals to Riches Mastery Summit yesterday, and therefore receiving all the bonus expert sessions this whole week, then still go to goalstorichesmastery.com and act as if you're registering. We were so busy yesterday. I'll just be upfront with you. We were so busy yesterday into last night. We didn't update the registration page to just be a way for you to sign up. So it looks as if you're going to be joining something that passed, but that's okay. And yet, if you get on that mailing list, then we'll make sure that you get the individual interviews of all of our experts yesterday, and then what's going on all week. Okay, so goalstorichesmastery.com. But anyway, so Joyce, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, had Joyce Schwartz of the Vision Board Institute. You can go to visionboardinstitute.com. She shared with us how important creating your vision even before goal setting is. And I can't agree with her more. Even a part of our Goals to Riches challenge, actually it's coming up on October 19th. Make a note, October 19th, we kick off our very popular 5-day Goals to Riches challenge. We, too, start off with vision. So I loved that conversation with her yesterday. And her whole conversation was around kind of the secret, revealing the secret of you achieving your goals. And it was the fact that you should start with your vision. Now, and then you can translate that vision into a vision board. So you can see mine behind me. Where's my finger going to point? For those of you watching. And so basically it's, you cut out images and photographs and words and statements that represent what it is you want in your world. What kind of universe, what kind of world do you want to be creating? And then, literally placing it out, and she does suggest doing it by hand, I would too, putting it out on a board, that's why it's called Vision Board, and then having that in a prominent place that you could be focusing on each and every day. If you need to understand where to start when it comes to your goals, then just daydream and create that vision and, make sure it's in a prominent place so you're always able to focus on it. Okay? All right. So I hope that addressed all of your stress over COVID issues. And be sure to be right back here next Tuesday at noon Eastern Time for another episode of Shedding the Bitch Radio. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Join Bernadette every Tuesday at noon Eastern as she helps you shift your bitches to riches. And the dialogue is always going on at sheddingthebitch.com. See you next week.
Stay here. Buddy, sorry.